Good morning and welcome to our session of converting to digital material. I'm going to ask someone to please confirm audio and video for us and then we will begin. Okay. All right, so today's focus is to go over how we can make everything digitally accessible for our students. So the primary focus of today's lesson will be on Google Drive, how to upload different file types, such as file types from Microsoft Office that include PowerPoint, PDF, and Microsoft Word into Google Drive, how to utilize video formats such as MP4s, store video in our Google Drive, share items in our Drive, how to best organize those items, and also audio files. We're going to look how to upload, download, view and open, convert, save web content. We'll also take a look at Team Drives and Priority, which is an option inside of Drive that helps with managing workflow and staying organized. So to get to your Drive, you can click on your Google Apps grid, also known as the waffle, and then choose Drive. If you're new to the district or new to Drive, Google Drive is kind of like your digital filing cabinet. So if you notice here to the left, you have the plus sign that says New. If you click on that, you can add folders to begin organization. So here you have folders, and you can see that I have already started some folders. You can also choose and color code these folders. I have Google Classroom, which is a folder that is auto-generated whenever you create a Google Classroom, and all of your classroom material will be stored inside of this folder. I've created a distance learning folder, a lessons plans folder. Meet Recordings is also an auto-generated folder that is created whenever you record your first Google Meet. So inside of these folders, if you double-click, which is a two-finger tap on a Chromebook, you'll notice that I can share the entire folder and all of its contents with people, with whomever I would like to share those with. Also select to open with, but this works better for individual documents instead of folders. Here's where you can change color so that you can color code and organize your folders so that you can easily identify folders. And you can also search for individual files within those folders if they become a little cumbersome. Here you have an option to also download these folders to your local device. And then of course you can delete. Let's go back to New. And then here is where you can do your uploads from your local device. So if you're on your desktop or PC or laptop, then you want to start moving your material into your Google Drive so that it is cloud-based and accessible from any device that you use, and so that you also have the same share features that are available in all of the Google Apps for education, then you can do that with any type of file, any file type, any document. Just select File Upload, Folder Upload, which you can do entire folder uploads from your PC. And if you have gone out and downloaded files, you can look in the downloaded folder and you can select those files. On your Chromebook, you'll notice that the downloaded, if you download, the default option is for it to save in your Google Drive. So when you download, it'll save in your Drive, in My Drive, and everything will begin to save here. You also have access to the folders inside of your Drive from your File Explorer in your Chromebook. So as you can see, the folders that were introduced earlier, you have Classroom, which has a drop-down. It shows the classrooms that I have. So the Henry Tech for Teachers and the Demo Classroom that I use for demonstration purposes and classroom trainings. My distance learning folder, the lesson plans, my meet recordings. So whenever you do your file upload, you can just double click or select the file and then click open, and then it will save those files to your drive. So for example, if you want to move your document folder from your PC into your Google Drive, then you would just click folder upload, select your document folder or your download folder, and then let that upload. If you have a lot of files in there, it will take some time, so be cognizant of that, but eventually it will all be available and accessible inside of your Drive, and then all of those files will be there and have those sharing capabilities that all of the documents inside of Drive do have. Also, under the new option, whenever you click that, you do have creation capabilities. So from your Drive, directly from your Drive, you can create new Google Docs, and you can access blank documents and from the templates that are available. And that's the same for Google Sheets and Slides and pretty much every other Google app for EDU that is available. You have your forms, drawings, maps, sites. AppScript you probably will not see. And then you also have Jamboards. So you can create new jams directly from your Drive as well. And you can go out and explore and even connect more apps so that you have that ease of access and that one-stop place for the creation of your new documents and resources from your Drive. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happens and how to manage Microsoft Office documentation. So if we have a Word document that has been emailed to me or to you, that's available on your desktop, well, if it's been emailed, you'll have an option to download to your device, or you can directly add it to your Drive. Since we are converting to digital material, I'm going to go ahead and skip the download step, and I'm just going to add this document to my Drive. So when I click Add it to my Drive, notice that it says Add it to my Drive, and I have the option to organize. So if I know that I really want this to go ahead and be in my distance learning folder, I can click Organize, click on my distance learning. I have the right arrow to move inside of the distance learning folder, and then I can move here. Now notice here I have a PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint. Same thing. I want to begin to move all of my material to my Drive. So I'm going to click Add to Drive. I don't want to have everything just listed in one location, so for ease of access, I'm going to go ahead and organize. I'm going to put this in my distance learning folder, and then I'm going to select Move here. Okay, so notice also I have a PDF. So here I have a PDF, same concept. I'm going to add this PDF to my Drive. So click Add Drive, Organize, etc. Alright, so now I have all of these Microsoft Office products available inside of my Drive in the distance learning folder that I had already created. So now, how to manage those files. So we have a couple different options. One is that we can automatically just go ahead and convert these files over to Google products. And to do that, when you're in the tile view format of these, all you have to do is right click, which is a 2-finger tap. So I'm going to open with, and I'm going to select Google Docs. This is a Microsoft Word document. Okay. So notice that I have the option to save this as Google Docs, or the option to continue to work in this file as a .docx, which is the Microsoft Word format. In this format, you can see that the formatting has not been skewed, it hasn't been moved around, it's not difficult. However, if you have tried to convert files in the past, specifically PDF files, then occasionally the formatting will be off. So if that's the case, then sometimes it is best to keep that file as a PDF. We will go over how to work with PDFs next. But here, we have a Microsoft Word document. I'm able to edit this file just like normal. Now I have the options to share, just like all of the other Google applications. Notice I can add individual people by email and give them permission to this document. Or I can copy a link and then share that link to them through Classroom or through email. And notice here that says Henry County Schools, anyone in this group with this link can view. Now if I want to change that, I just hit change. And then I can change the permission settings from viewer to commenter to editor, depending on what I want to accomplish. So those are your options for Microsoft Word, and actually for all Microsoft products in general. Let's take a look at the PDF. When you double click and open a PDF, you get this transparent overlay. You can see that I can't really do anything with this document as is. However, we do have a force-installed extension known as Canny. And if you notice here, if I open with, I have the option to annotate with Canny. So students also have this force-installed on all of their devices. And if you do not see this, when you select Open With, then you can search for it by clicking Connect More Apps and typing in Canny. So I'm going to go ahead and select Annotate with Canny. It's going to open up this PDF document inside of the software program Canny. Now that I'm inside of this document, I have some annotation tools that will allow me to write, draw on, insert text boxes, comment, do math equations, shapes, I can do ellipses, insert images. Some of these features are part of the premium edition, such as the signature, so that will not be available once your free trial runs out. But others, such as the annotation tools, will always be free. So once I have opened this PDF annotator up, then I can save this to my drive. I can also open files directly in Canny. So if I want to click the File Explorer inside of Canny, then I can open files and other PDFs directly from my drive, and folders within my drive, or from my computer, my local device. Notice here I have the option to share the document. Here I can add people just like in my Google Docs. Where I have the link that I can copy and share. I have the option to save the file, and I have the option to download the file. So if I select download, notice I can download this directly to my drive and save all of the annotations that I have. So if I was going through like a workbook math PDF or a worksheet with my class, and I had all of the answers written down or marked up an essay, then I could save that with all my annotations, save that version of it, and then put that into my classroom for students to have access to it. So this also works on the student side. So if you have a PDF worksheet that you want to make available in your Google Classroom, you can do that with the instructions for students to open that PDF with their Canvas extension, use the annotation tools to complete that, and then what they will do in order to turn it into you, since we do not currently have the premium edition that would allow them to submit it directly from inside the Canvas app, is they would click Save Now, and then that would save their version of and completed worksheet that you submitted. And then once back inside of the Google Classroom assignment, they would turn it in from the actual assignment pop-up inside of Google Classroom instead of inside of the Kami application itself. So that is how we work and manipulate PDFs inside of Chrome. So if you have PDFs that you do not want to convert to Google Docs, or that the formatting is messed up because of a conversion in a complicated Microsoft Word document or a complicated PDF, then it is best to keep that in PDF format and utilize the PDF annotation tools available to manage and manipulate. Okay, next up we have the PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint. It is very easy to just right-click, open with Google Slides. So this will convert this into a Google Slide. So then you have all of the native functionality of a Google Slide, which keeps, for the majority, all of the formatting of PowerPoint and presenter notes, and allows you to have the sharing capabilities and presentational capabilities that are available through Google Slides. Okay, do we have any questions about Microsoft products or PDFs? Okay, so we will continue on.
Did you tell them that they can save a Google slide as a PDF?
I did not. So let's take a look at the options you have when you have a document open. So these tools and functions are available inside of Google Docs and Slides and any Google product. So if you have something that you want to save and use as a PDF, if you click File and then scroll down to Download, and you can download this Google Slide or Google Doc in any of these available file types. So notice you have a PDF document, you can do images, you can also save these as PowerPoint. Inside of a Google Doc, you will also have the option to download as Microsoft Word or PDF. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my drive. taken a look at how we can upload and download files and the different types of files that you can store in Drive. Let's say we have a video. So if we've created a Loom or a short video for online instruction or demonstration, then you'll notice that I have the file type saved here. Whenever you first upload a file into Drive, it does take time to process. Whenever that has processed, you will notice that it does give you an image. Whenever there is an image available, not one of the little video boards, and it is processed and ready to use. And notice when I do my right click here, I have the option to share this out to individual people or get shareable links. So that means that if I take a shareable link and put that link inside of the presentation, such as a Google Slide presentation, put the link inside my Google Classroom, and the video will stay hosted inside of my Drive and will not require uploading or processing time on the student side. So they'll get direct access to that video, be able to view it immediately because the actual host location of that file does not change. Alright, so there is also another extension that allows you to save web content directly to your Drive, and it is called Save to Google Drive. So if you go out to the Chrome Web Store to get an extension, which if you just go out to new tab, and Google Chrome Web Store, you will notice that it is the first link that appears, and inside of here, then you can just search for, check that name again, Save to Google Drive. So here you have Save to Google Drive. It shows you that extension that I have available here. So whenever you have this available, you want to, say if you're going through doing some research, and then you can select Save to Google Drive feature. And it will say, now not all web pages will be applicable, but typically the ones that you have, let's take a look at it. So we're doing some research. This is hard. Utopia 6 strategies for successful distance learning. Again, save this my Drive. So it's going to take a full screenshot. You notice now I have an image file and 6 strategies for successful K-12 distance learning, PNG, which is the image file. I can change that file name if I would like to do so. And if not, then I'll just choose close and save my Drive. So now I always have this available, accessible inside of my Drive thanks to that extension. As you can see, right here it is. Alright, let's just look at some more of the organizing and sharing capabilities inside of Drive. So here to the left you have priority and you also have shared drives. So priority is a workspace designed for you to keep documents of importance and relevance at the moment. So you can create as many different workspaces that you would like to create. So for example, right here, the first tabs up top are the most recent and most frequent documents that you open. So they keep those readily accessible for access. And then below are your workspaces, which you can create as many as you like. Have an example workspace, and then this is another example with a more specific purpose is Unit 1 distance learning. So here, under this workspace, I have begun to add different files that I'm going to utilize for my Unit 1 and distance learning, and And then next to these files, I can click on the More Actions icon, which is the 3 dots. And then I can share these out to the people that I would like to have them work on these files with me. So I can have different people work on different files all in the same workspace. And then whenever I exit out, come back to the next day or at a later time, and I don't have to worry about searching through my Google Drive for those files that I tried, that I've been working on. Because I can always just click on my priority tab and then go directly to my workspace that I created that will keep all of my relevant and important information for that time readily accessible. Another great sharing tool in Drive is called Shared Drives. So inside of Shared Drives, used to be known as Team Drives, is that you can create shared drives and give people access to those drives so that everybody can add their own content to the drive itself. So if I have a distance learning shared drive and I have done so for my grade level or content area, then everyone involved can begin to create folders in here, add content that they've created or want to use or want to share with each other. Now what's important to know is that there are default sharing permissions associated with shared drives. So if you create a shared drive and you add members to that shared drive, then anyone that puts content inside of the shared drive means that the shared drive itself is the owner and not the individual person. So Google created team drives and shared drives for the sole purpose of collaboration. Because what had happened in the past is if I created a lesson plan and I shared that lesson plan with you, then if I were to delete that document or decide to go elsewhere, move, take a new job somewhere else, and whenever my account was suspended or I left, then those people that I shared my documents with or resources with would no longer have access to that. So if you're part of a team, and then you had one person do the initial creation of all of the documents that you as a team worked on together and created collaboratively, then if that one person left that created all of those initial files, then everyone else in that team would no longer have access to those files. So what Shared Drive has done is allowed a place for everyone to collaborate without the permissions or restrictions of ownership to those files. So whenever a file is created and put into a team drive or a shared drive, then it will stay inside of that shared drive despite the membership and the roles of the people involved in that team drive. So as you create drives and workspaces and as you share documentation, it's important that you remember the permissions that are associated with the different types of sharing, so that way you don't create something, or even that you do create something that achieves the goals that you want to accomplish. Also, if you have people that have shared individual things with you through email or documentation that they shared with you in their workspace, well, they may just want you to work on one of their documents that they want to maintain ownership with, and that's going to be located in the Shared With Me file. So here we have the Shared With Me file. You notice that I can just look in here, and even though I do not have ownership to these files, I can still access them, benefit from their information. So whenever I click on a file or document inside of the Shared With Me file, notice that I can add a shortcut to my drive to open this file from wherever you need it. So this is a really important update to Google Drive, because if you have a lot of shared information with you, then sometimes you couldn't find it because you would go to your Google Drive, you would be looking in My Drive, but this information that's in the Shared With Me file will not show up in My Drive unless you add a shortcut to that information from here. Now, if this is not an ever-changing document or a document that is being worked on, you can make a copy of that document and then keep a copy of that document for yourself, and then you won't have to worry about permissions being changed or ownership rights either, because you will be making a copy of that document for yourself. It is your document, and it will be accessible in your drive. So for example, if I open up this file that has been shared with me, instead of making a shortcut to it in my drive, what I can do is just go to File and select Make a Copy. Once I make a copy of this document, a copy of this document that was shared with me is now mine. So that copy is mine, and that the ownership rights of the copy are mine, and it will be accessible in my drive. All right, so do we have any questions up to this point? No? Okay, great. All right, so since we have some more time, we'll take a look at in depth a little more about some of the sharing capabilities. So I'm going to jump back to my drive. And I am going to open up one of these Microsoft Word. So notice that I've opened up the Word, it gives me that transparent overlay. I'm going to go ahead and select PDFs. Well, I'm going to work in the docx format. Take my file, I'm going to save the Google Docs. So now notice that I do not have that docx format here anymore. It is 100% Google Doc. Just close out of the other. Not in any kind of online web editing format. So inside the doc, I have all of the availabilities here. I can add shortcuts to my drive since this was an original shared document. I can also make copies of it. So let's take a look at shares. So once again, you can type people in here individually. So I'll say I want to share this with Ms. Brown. And select Ms. Brown. Notice I have the option to change the role and permissions here. If I do the settings icon, then notice I have further capabilities to limit permissions. So I can, let's say I want someone to help edit it, but I don't want them to have the ability to change the permissions that I have associated with this document, and I don't want them to be able to share it to anyone else that I have not given permission to edit this document. So I can decide to click that. And then I can also not allow viewers and commenters to see the option to download, print, and copy. So if I want people to just see this document and not download it or print it, I'll be able to make copies of it, and I also have that restriction as well. So with that, I'm going to notify people, you can type a message so they can know, and then you can just close it. Cancel this. I'm just going to Discord. Let's go back to the link sharing. So I'm going to change this permission. So notice I have links here. I can change this where anyone in this group with the link can view. I can restrict it so that only people that I have added through adding people with their email address can view. or I can make it to where anyone with the link can view. So that is open to the public. So they are not restricted inside of our Henry Schools domain. Notice that those are disabled. Settings are disabled when it is in public. We go back to Henry County Schools, and you have this option. People in Henry County Schools can search for this file. If you make that available and accessible, then you have that capability as well. So those are all the full sharing features available. This is not only available in Google Docs, but in all of the Google apps for education. Okay. So in your drive, you notice you have additional settings. So let's take a look at what those settings are. So you have your storage. You do have the option to automatically convert all of your uploads. So if you want Drive to take care of all of your conversions for you, and you don't want to maintain the original format of a Microsoft Word document or the PowerPoints that you're uploading into your Drive, then you can select this, and then everything that you add to your Drive will automatically be converted. Notice as well that you have an offline capability. So if you select this, then that means that you can create, open, and edit your recent Google Docs and sheets and slides on your local device while you are offline. So that also works for student devices. If they're not connected to the internet, they can edit assignments, work on Google Docs, etc. As long as this offline setting in their Drive is selected, which by default it is, then whenever they do reconnect to the internet, it will resync and save. So notice here you also have the ability to make priority your default homepage, and then make relevant files, handle convenient quick access, and then service important people and files and charge fees. So that's just people that you typically go. So you control notifications, and you can also manage apps inside of your Drive. So notice that Annotate Candy was one that we use for PDF annotation, so you can use this by default, and then you do have associated options for each of application that you have. Okay, so that's pretty much all there is to Google Drive. It is very convenient and very simple once you become familiar with it. Do we have any questions?
I said not now, but once I try to do it, I'll go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Okay. Well, thank you all for participating. Our next session will be at 10 a.m. and we'll be covering Google Classroom. Thank you very much for your time.